I'm Marvin Dunn, and I was born in Wichita Falls, Texas. And when I was about 2 years old, my parents moved to Paris, Texas.
When you born?
I was born in 1931, May the 4th. And when I was 2 years old, they moved to Paris, Texas. And my dad was a farmer, so I grew up on a farm until I was 15 years old. And I went to school, Del Mar High School, which was a country school. And I worked, after I graduated from high school, I didn't have the money to go to college, so I went to West Texas, Odessa, Texas, worked in the oil fields for a year, came back in 1950 and started to college. I was a freshman in college when the war broke out.
Oh, what college did you enter?
Paris Junior College.
And what were you about to study?
I was going to be a pharmacist, but I changed my mind. One of my psychology teacher, Dr. Hatcher, talked me into going into education. So I spent 34 years with the Dallas Independent School District as a teacher, principal, and administrator.
Oh, you were a teacher?
Yes.
What did you teach?
I taught English, math, and social studies.
Oh, you teach everything.
Well, I went from like 7th grade to high school, and I even taught college. I taught in North Texas. I taught a 500 course there. People want their master's degree.
So you were not drafted because you
No,
were
I
in
wasn't.
college?
When the war broke out, June 25th, they said it was police action, so I enrolled in Paris Junior College in August, and by November, the war had really gotten bad, and I talked to two of my buddies and asked them if they would like to join the Marines with me because we could stay together. And so the three of us joined the Marines in January the 1951, January the 19th. And we went through boot camp and advanced training together, and two of us went to Korea together. The other one got hurt, got wounded in combat training in California. And but Wayne and I got in the 1st battalion, and he got in the 2nd because.
Before we go into the detail, did you know anything about Korea?
I didn't know where it was. I really didn't. I had to look on the map. But I knew the 1st Marine Division was having trouble in the Chosen Reservoir, and my uncle had been a Marine in World War II, and I admired him, and he was kind of a role model for me, and so that's the main reason we joined the Marines. That, and we stayed together.
How did you know about the trouble? So 1st Marine Division in Chosin Field.
Oh, it was on the radio.
On the radio.
Radio. We didn't have television back then in Paris.
What did radio say?
It was. They were talking about how difficult the 1st Marine Division was having trying to get out of the Chosin Reservoir, and the Chinese had surrounded them, and some of the papers had some things in there about, newspapers about the war, how it was going. So we joined. We didn't wait for the draft, even though the draft was on. We joined, and we thought we could continue our education when we got back.
So you were ready to fight to help Korea?
I was ready to help Korea, yes. And it was really in bad shape when I got over there in July '51.
July 51, where did you arrive?
Husan. And I was in, my unit was in reserve, hospital reserve for 4 days. And my MOS, which is what I was trained to do, heavy mortars, 81 mortars. And in the Marine Corps, you go in as replacements. And so when I got assigned to my unit, they were in reserve. And my platoon leader asked me, he said, Dunn, what's your MOS? And I said, heavy mortars. And he said, we don't need a gunner on mortars. I said, here, he gave me a BAR, Browning automatic rifle. And turned out it was one of the most effective weapons in Korea because you could fire about 400 or 500 rounds a minute, between 4 and 5.
Wow.
And so in a firefight, or you could let off quite a few rounds.
So where did you go from there?
The Punch Bowl. I was in the Punch Bowl on the eastern part all the time I was over there. On Hill 749, it took the 5th and the 1st Marine Regiment 3 days to take that hill. And once we lost 90-something men on those 3 days, not killed, but wounded or killed. And then we went to 884 from there, took that hill, and then I was sent back in reserve, hospital reserve, because we needed some men. So I was back there 5 days and went back up on Hill 812, all in the Punch Bowl area. And I got wounded on 812.
Remember the date?
Oh yeah, October 25th, 1951.
How did you end up?
Heavy mortar, I think 81 mortar, because I could. I think they have down on my records that I stepped on a mine, but mines you don't hear when they go off. They just come up out of the ground and do the damage. But I heard, I was in charge of 10 men, and we were building bunkers for the winter. It was getting kind of cool, October 25th, and bombs had knocked down a bunch of trees, and we were picking up some of the smaller ones and building bunkers for the winter. And I heard this mortar come in. I heard it had a distinct sound. And and I yelled, I had 10 men that I yelled for them to hit the ground. They did. I didn't make it. And it felt like it hit my back pocket, but I know it's close by.
Where did you hit?
It blew off my left leg, and I lost my left eye, and shrapnel in the left side of my body, and eardrum.
You lost your eye
Uh-huh.
and leg.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that moment?
I'll never forget it. It didn't even knock me out. I remember them coming and getting me on the mountain in one of those helicopters that had a little basket on each side. They came and got me and took me to a MASH unit in the floor of the Punch Bowl. And I stayed there about 2 or 3 days, and they sent me to Seoul, Korea. And then they flew me to Tokyo, and I got on an ambulance, and they took me to Yokosuka, Japan.
Why did they record that you step on landmine?
I don't know. I've even talked to some of my friends that were there, and they couldn't tell me. In combat, sometimes they will say things like that and get them mixed up. I don't know. I just always felt it was a heavy mortar because I heard it coming in, and you don't hear mines. I mean I've seen guys step on mines and you never hear them. They just go off.
Have you appealed to the military that it's wrong?
Yes.
You appealed? They didn't change?
I appealed to when they discharged me and gave me disability. I told them, but at the time that I felt that it was a martyr, and they didn't have much to say about it. They were wanting to discharge me. Here's a little deal, Purple Heart. This shows the memorial in Washington, D.C. And this is our chapter.
You belong to chapter 15?
Yeah.
When did you join?
I joined the first time they organized in 2000. And I was president of the chapter for 2 years.
2 years?
And then we had to develop a State Department. And I was president of the State Department for 3 years. And a national director for 6. I was 20 years old when that happened, so I guess over time, I was told even then that I got my natural walk back, but through the years I've gotten careless about walking. And back then I tried to really get my natural walk back. When I got over there, the Chinese, they had moved almost everyone down to the Pusan, the ocean, and with we finally got some troops over there, and they had the First Marine Division made that Incheon landing, which cut off their supplies, and they had to take off and run and get back to North Korea. And so it was, it's just helping out a country. That's what NATO was formed for in '47. And so that was the first country that was fought under NATO, as you know, and it really paid off. It really did. I know some of the others haven't, but that country is, and the people are just extremely grateful and thankful. I mean, every time I've got my tag on one of my cars. It's got a Purple Heart, and at the laundry there's this little Korean girl that works there, and every time I go there, she bows to me every time I go there. She's so grateful that she wasn't born there, but her parents were, and she knows what took place.
What is your wife's name?
Joanne, Joann. And we've been married 60 years this December.
How did you know her before you went?
We went to the same school, but she was a freshman and I was a senior. So, and when I came back, she graduated when she was 15, so she had been working a couple of years when I came back. And she was 18, and she had changed so, and we just kind of bonded right away.
Did you exchange letters when you were in Korea to her?
No, no. I didn't even go with her until I came back. I started going with her in June after I got discharged in April. And by September, we'd decided to get married.
But did you have a relation, any kind of dating or relationship before you left Korea?
No.
No,
Not-
but just you knew her because she was in your school.
Yes.
Did she like you before?
Yeah, we used to sit on the bus together.
Together?
Yeah. And I used to kid her about how cute she was, and it would embarrass her, you know, because she was a lot younger, 3 years younger. But, yeah, I've known her basically all her life.
What was she doing when you returned from Korea?
She was executive secretary and had been for 2 years, and she was 18 years old. She was executive secretary for National Hardware. It's a big wholesale company. And she helped me get through college.
But she knew that you were wounded, you lost
Oh,
your
yeah,
eye,
yeah, oh,
and,
absolutely.
uh,
I, to this day, I don't know. I mean, I had a high school education when we got married. That's all I had.
Did you ask her to marry?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I've always thought, what did I have to offer? You know, I mean, I don't. I had all these problems emotionally and physically, but she seemed to understand, and that's a beautiful part of any relationship. You got to understand one another. We have
She's
two.
like an angel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I hope that I can see her sometime.
I hope you can too, because she'd love to meet you. She's a great lady.
And she understood what went through.
Pardon?
She understood
Oh yes,
what you want.
absolutely. Yeah, she knew.
Do you have a PTSD? Post-traumatic?
Not really. At first, I had dreams about combat, and I'd wake up, but they were unusual dreams in that I'd be in a firefight, and my weapon wouldn't fire or something, but I'd wake up. But as far as PTSD, I don't think I really had it. I knew what I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to go to school and get an education, and I just concentrate on that.
Do you have children?
I have 2 daughters,
2 daughters? Grandchildren?
5.
5. How old are they?
2 are 25, 1 is 28, and then 1 is 18 and 1's 15.
Wow.
So, unlike most guys that fought in that war, and I guess any war, I didn't talk about it for years. I don't know. I guess because I didn't think they would understand what I was talking about. Because unless you're there, you don't understand what the guys went through. And but when I joined this chapter in 2000, that's when it was established. I went to the first meeting and joined. And these guys were there. They knew what I went through. I knew what they went through. And we started talking. That's the first time I really talked about it. And then I started talking about it to my grandkids because I wanted them to know about the war and why it was fought, results, and all that. And I go to high schools, as Keith did when he was here. We go to high schools.
Tell America program.
Pardon?
Tell America.
Tell America program, yeah. I helped develop that here in our chapter with Larry Kiner.
Were your grandchildren receptive about
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah, they're like most. Like when we go to high school, first thing it is, did you kill anyone? You know, that's their mentality. They won't know if you kill someone. And I just tell them, you know, you're in a battle and you don't know who killed who. You try to stay alive. Some of the universities are establishing oral history department. North Texas has started one. They came out and interviewed me, and they wrote a book, and it's going to be in their library. It's not going to be for sale. It's in their library, and people that want to minor in oral history of wars, they can do so. That's one way, and then people are writing books. That's another, and things like we're doing here, I think, are excellent. Tell America program is a good one. We have a man in our chapter, and he just joined about 4 months ago, and he was a captain in the Navy, and before he retired from the Navy, he saw a need for this. He was in the Navy during the Korean War. So he studied the reason we went there, what we accomplished, and what's going on now in Korea. And he goes around, that's all he does is talk to people. He talks to groups, like I talked to the Irving Heritage Society. Second year I was in the chapter, they wanted someone to come speak to them. They had about 100 people, adults. And so I went and talked to them. But things like that can spread the word, and we really can't let it die, because history, they're not doing a very good job of developing textbooks which tells the story of the wars, like World War II, I, Vietnam, Korea. Korea is just known as Forgotten War, and we accomplished so much there and lost so many people, and so many nations from NATO came in and helped.
Have you been back to Korea?
No,
You know what's been
but
done
I have seen, yeah, I saw the, 69 Olympics, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it, because Busan was just nothing when we were there in '51. And I didn't get to see Seoul, but because we went straight to our unit. And but I didn't get to see any of the towns or the people, really. We had some of the South Koreans helping us carry ammo and food, but as far as seeing any of the, I spent all my time in the Punch Bowl. But I would do it again. I promise you. I've told many people some of them think I'm crazy, and after all I've gone through, but if you think about me since I was 20 years old, having to get up every morning and put on this prosthesis before I could go to the bathroom, and go to the shower, and stand on one leg to take a shower. And I've done that for all these years. It will be, well, it's already been, let's see, it was 1951, October 25th. And I mean, it hadn't been easy. When I was in college, when you first get a prosthesis, you get bruises and on your stump because your stump has to get used to it, like your foot when you're walking. And so rather than miss classes, I went to classes on crutches. And the reason I got my bachelor's degree in 3 years is because I took extra courses. And back then, with another year, you could get your master's. Now it takes 2. But then and I got all of mine in 4 years. And I didn't even realize it for about a year. One day I was thinking about it, but what we went through in college, and I said, you know, I got all of my degrees in 4 years. And I worked on my doctorate. In fact, I only like 3 courses having my doctorate in education, but I was in my late 40s, and I decided I developed migraine headaches, and I wanted to spend time with my girls before they were in high school and drill team and all that. So, but I've had a great life. I wouldn't change anything because I'd probably foul it up.
Any message to the future generation?
Yeah, we've got some great great people. I think our soldiers coming back from Afghanistan, and I'm so proud of them because they have really had to fight through all kinds of stuff over there. It's unreal. Just remember what this country was built on. And we came over, they came over, our pilgrims came over so we could have freedom. And so I say to the young people, you know, it never, freedom's not free, never has been since the Revolutionary War. And to always be patriotic, always be patriotic. You may not have to go through a war, I hope you don't, but if you do, be patriotic to the country and the flag and what you're doing.